When Vanna was invited to come on down, one of them read her T-shirt where it says, "Get serious." And he said, I am.
Back in the 70s, daytime TV wasn't about reality shows or endless talk shows. It was about game shows. Loud, colorful, sometimes a little awkward, but always addictive. So let's take a trip back to the polyester decade and look at 10 game shows that hooked America in the 70s. Number 1. Family Feud.
It's time for the Family Feud. Introducing the Johnson family. Wendy, Heidi, Gretchen, June, and Bob. Ready for action.
When Richard Dawson stepped up as the host in 1976, Family Feud instantly became one of the decade's most talked about shows. The format was brilliant. Survey 100 random people, then let two families go head-to-head, trying to guess the most popular answers. The result? Pure comedy gold. Dawson, with his smooth British accent, was equal parts charming and mischievous, especially since he kissed just about every female contestant right on the lips. That became his trademark, and looking back, it's one of the quirks that made the show so very 70s. The answers themselves were half the fun. Ask something simple like, name something you put in a picnic basket, and you'd get hilarious responses like, a squirrel. But even when the answers were way off, it was all about the energy. The audience screamed, the families celebrated or collapsed in despair, and Dawson tied it all together with a grin. It was unpredictable, it was outrageous, and it was absolutely addictive. Number 2. Wheel of Fortune.
More than $31,000. Now, let's meet the host of Wheel of Fortune, Chuck Woolery.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Charlie. Welcome to Wheel of Fortune. Now to start things off on a bright note, Susie Stafford. Susie?
Now, when Wheel of Fortune hit the airwaves in the 70s, it wasn't the sleek show we know today with Pat Sajak and Vanna White. Back then, it was a little rough around the edges, hosted first by Chuck Woolery. But the formula was all there. That giant carnival wheel clacking with every spin, contestants buying vowels like their lives depended on it, and home audiences screaming, "It's so obvious," while the poor contestant guessed the wrong letter. And here's a weird detail a lot of people forget. Before the shopping round was retired, winners actually had to spend their winnings on bizarre prizes in the studio's fake showcase room. So you'd see someone solve the puzzle and then buy a ceramic Dalmatian statue for $600 instead of cash. The wheel itself was hypnotic, though. One spin, and you were hooked. Number 3. Jeopardy.
These three people will compete today on Jeopardy. And now, here's the star of Jeopardy, Art Fleming.
Good morning. Thank you, players. Thank you, Don Pardo. Thank you, my friend.
Back in the 70s, Jeopardy was still the serious game show, though compared to the others, that's not saying much. Art Fleming was the host, long before Alex Trebek became the face of the show, and the set looked like something cobbled together from a high school auditorium. The categories were straightforward, the contestants were nervous, and the cash prizes weren't huge, but none of that mattered. This was the show where you felt smart just for playing along. And that whole answering in the form of a question thing? It sounded weird at first, but by the 70s, it was already ingrained in America's brain. Even kids would try it. What is... I don't know, Mom. Watching Jeopardy. In the 70s was like being part of an exclusive club. The kind where knowing obscure trivia about U.S. presidents or Shakespeare's plays made you a rock star. Number 4. The Price is Right.
2,307. That means that the difference between your bid and the retail price is $557.
The Price is Right wasn't just a game show in the 70s. It was practically a national pastime. If you were homesick from school, this is what you watched. Bob Barker walked out with that tiny stick microphone. The studio audience went absolutely wild, and then came the 4 magic words, "Come on down." The sheer chaos of watching people sprint to the stage like they were at the finish line of the Boston Marathon was worth the price of admission alone. The games themselves were pure 70s fun. Plinko, the Big Wheel, the Showcase Showdown. And the prizes? Oh man, a brand new car. Except it was usually a Ford Pinto or a Chevy Vega. Toss in some avocado green kitchen appliances, and you had a time capsule of American consumerism. It wasn't just about winning. It was about the thrill of seeing everyday people get their shot at TV glory. Number 5. Match Game.
Get ready to match the star. Orson Bean, Brett Summers, Charles Nelson Riley.
If there was ever a game show that felt like a cocktail party disguised as television, it was Match Game. Hosted by the smooth-talking Gene Rayburn with that extra-long skinny microphone, it was half quiz show, half comedy hour. The premise was simple. Contestants filled in the blanks to silly questions, hoping to match answers with a panel of celebrities. But let's be real. The real fun came from the stars on the panel. You had Brett Summers tossing out sarcastic one-liners, Charles Nelson Riley hamming it up with campy charm, and Richard Dawson delivering just the right amount of smirk. Half the time, the answers barely mattered. The audience was there for the laughs, the banter, and the occasional risque joke that somehow slipped past 1970s network censors. And who could forget the atmosphere? That groovy orange set, the snappy theme music, and the audience howling at the double entendres. Watching Match Game in the 70s was like being invited into an adults-only party where everyone was just tipsy enough to be hilarious. But your parents still let you watch. All right, folks, if you've made it through more of my videos than contestants spinning the Wheel of Fortune, it's probably time to subscribe. I'll keep bringing the nostalgia. You just hit that button and we'll call it a win-win. And if you're on Facebook, come join our retro flashback party where the answers are always hilarious, the memories come with a buzzer sound, and someone's still yelling, "Survey says." Number 6. Hollywood Squares.
In the secret square, and the contestant who picks it first could win a prize package worth over $2,200. Which star is it? Bill Bixby.
A giant tic-tac-toe board, but instead of X's and O's, you had celebrities sitting in boxes tossing out one-liners. Hollywood Squares was part comedy, part quiz, and part circus. Paul Lynde in the center square was always the highlight, firing off punchlines that flew over kids' heads but had adults choking on their TV dinners. You didn't really watch to see who won the game. You watched to see how outrageous the celebrities could get. And in the 70s, outrageous was the name of the game. Number 7. The Gong Show.
Oh, I have a little letter here. Gotta read this letter for you. It's from Huntley, Montana. And it comes from Dan Parlish. And he says, I watch a show every day on a Billings, Montana station, and I love Gene the Dancing Machine. I just wish you'd give him another chance.
Now this was pure, unfiltered 70s weirdness. Hosted by Chuck Barris, The Gong Show was a talent show for acts that had no business being on TV. If the judges didn't like you, they'd slam that giant gong and cut you off mid-performance. It was part comedy, part disaster, and 100% addictive. Where else could you see plate spinners, bad ventriloquists, and people dressed like fruit, all in one half hour? It was messy, unpredictable, and maybe that's why we loved it so much. Number 8. Password.
Yes, it's Password. Now, here's your host on Password, Alan Ludden.
The password is nostalgia. Password was deceptively simple. One-word clues, one-word guesses. But in the 70s, the show had a second life thanks to Password Plus with host Alan Ludden. The fun came from watching celebrities struggle to give clever clues while trying not to crack up. It was quiet compared to something like Match Game, but it hooked you all the same. Sometimes the best drama was just watching someone guess completely wrong and seeing the look of pure despair on their partner's face. Number 9. Let's Make a Deal.
These people, dressed as they are, come from all over the United States to make deals. Here in the marketplace of America, let's make a deal.
Monty Hall, costumes, and chaos. That's Let's Make a Deal in a nutshell. Contestants showed up dressed like giant chickens or clowns just to get Monty's attention. Then came the deals. Do you take what's behind curtain number 2 or keep the envelope? Maybe it's a car, maybe it's a goat. The suspense was unreal, and the bizarre prizes made it one of the most unpredictable shows of the 70s. It wasn't just a game show, it was a carnival. Number 10. Celebrity Sweepstakes.
Here are today's celebrities: Carol Wayne, James Ferrantino.
And for our bonus oddball, we've got Celebrity Sweepstakes. Imagine a game show crossed with a horse race, and you're close. Contestants placed bets on which celebrity they thought would know the right answers, and then watched as their horse crossed the finish line. It was flashy, noisy, and confusing. But somehow people tuned in. It was the kind of show that could only exist in the 70s, when even game shows felt like Vegas spectacles. From skinny microphones to giant gongs, the 70s gave us some of the wildest, funniest, and most bizarre game shows ever to hit television. Some of them are still around, others are just memories, but all of them remind us of a time when game shows were more than just games. They were events.